Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Lucy and I'm a fourth year medical student studying at the University of Nottingham. In today's video I thought I'd just sort of do a more fun sit down video about what's in my placement bag. So what is in the bag that I take with me onto medical school placement every day. I don't know if any of you are going to find this interesting at all, but I just thought I would talk you through it and sort of give you some placement tips along the way, or things that I've definitely learnt while being on placement. It's nearly Christmas. I hope everyone's feeling excited about the holidays. You'll probably notice my paper chase advent calendar in the background. I kind of put it there to cover up all the clutter on my drawers, but it's also a nice little backdrop, I think. So this is the bag that I take to placement. Loads of people have these bags now. I really like it. It's a good size, it's durable, and it's like a rucksack, but it's not too backpacky. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of nice at the same time. I say it's durable. There's a hole in it here, and that's purely because I just overfill this bag. I just absolutely fill it. It probably isn't meant to support the load that I put in it. But it's because I like having only one bag. I don't want to ever have to take an extra bag with me. So yeah, but anyway, let's open it up and I'll show you what's inside. So firstly, we've got my water bottle. This one's actually relatively new. I got it for my birthday. I really like it actually. I always see people with these bottles. This is the skinny dip one, but I know loads of people have the Chili's ones, and it's just really nice because it keeps the water nice and cool all day. Something I would say about placement is I literally forget to drink water, and it's really bad. I will often go the whole day having only had a sip of water at lunchtime. So if you are starting placement soon, I would say just remember to drink, and remember that you can take your water bottle with you. I always felt like if I was going to a clinic or something that I didn't want to bring things with me, but you can of course just take your water bottle. So yeah, if you go to a clinic or something where you can just put it down next to you, then I'd recommend to carry it with you on placement, because otherwise you will just not drink water, and it's really bad for you obviously to not be drinking, keeping hydrated. So yeah. Next, along the same sort of lines, I have my little lunch box. I normally would take a roll, a bread roll and stuff, or a pasta salad. I'll only sort of treat myself to a meal deal, like a Tesco's meal deal occasionally. I just feel like it saves loads of money, so do pre-make your lunch the night before if you have time. This is just a nice little sized one that fits in my bag, just about. Next we have my PPE. So obviously in COVID times we have to wear a mask at all times, and for anyone who's starting placement maybe, or people who aren't used to wearing a mask every day, firstly I say that you do really get used to it. I thought I would constantly be adjusting it or finding it irritating, but I actually got used to it so quickly and I sort of forget that I'm wearing it. However, I've noticed that I'll get back at the end of the day and my face will just feel so greasy, and I've started to get so many more spots than I ever had before, and I do wonder if it's the mask, that sort of, I don't know, that humidified air kind of just collecting there. It seems like it's kind of, I don't know, it always makes me feel a bit kind of I don't know, I want to wash my face at the end of the day, for sure, and get rid of it all. So it's not the nicest thing to have to wear them, but obviously it's completely necessary. And then visors, for my psychiatry placement we were wearing them when we were on the ward, so we didn't have to wear them all day, but on the wards, if we were talking to patients, we would. And to be honest, I'm so glad I don't have to wear them all day, and I really admire the healthcare professionals that do wear them all day every day, because they really are quite suffocating. I honestly do start to struggle to breathe when I'm wearing it. It feels like there's just no air circulating near you, and it's also really hard to communicate with people with this in between you, because obviously it's see-through so they can see you, but I just feel like makes it very closed off, and it's hard to kind of communicate as you normally would. And it also steams up quite a lot as well, and so I find that I'm always looking through one little bit that's not steamed up. So next we have my little placement notebook, and I've actually got through 2 of these already because I've done 2 placements, done my obs and gynae placement and my psychiatry placement, and I really do fill them up. And so basically I always have this in my pocket and take it around with me everywhere I go. And it's weird because it's not necessarily something I'm going to go back and read through and revise from, but I will basically note down kind of 3 things. So firstly, any learning points. So this might just be not necessarily knowledge based, but I don't know, if a consultant says like a good way to remember something, or if I kind of make a sort of connection between different sort of parts of the theory of the knowledge and stuff. I don't know, if something kind of clicks for me when I see it, or when I'm just on the wards, I'll write it down just as a sort of memorable thing, so that then I feel like I won't forget it again. And it's not that I will necessarily read back over that, but I think me just writing it kind of consolidates it for me, that's something I've learned now. I will also use it to write down like questions I have. So if something's mentioned that I don't understand and it's not really appropriate for me to ask in that moment, then I'll just note it down so that I can look it up when I get home or when I next get the chance. And thirdly, I use it to write down the patients that I've seen. So obviously I don't include like all their name and the details of them and stuff, because that would be really bad if I lost this notebook. But I will just write down sort of like maybe the age of the patient, and then what they came in with, like what the problem was, relevant details, and then what investigations were done, or what plan was made for management. Just because I like having this kind of these example cases, and also because we have to fill in our logbook of all the sort of patients we've seen and the conditions we've seen, so it just helps to have that to look back on, because sometimes in a clinic there'll be loads and loads of patients and I won't necessarily remember them all at the end, so I'll just note down some details about each patient. Next we have my umbrella, avocado umbrella. Self-explanatory, it's just something that is good to have in your bag. I always have a little pack of tissues as well. And then I have my lanyard, so this is the CP2 one, so it tells everyone that I'm a CP2 medical student at Nottingham, and that basically means that I'm in clinical phase 2, so I'm a 4th year. There's different ones obviously you get throughout medical schools. You get an early years one to say when you're a 1st or a 2nd year medical student, and then you get your clinical phase 1 lanyard, which is blue, and then you get this one in 4th year, and then in 5th year you get your green one, which says you're in clinical phase 3. And on my lanyard obviously I have my identity card thing, and then I've got this little clock. I don't know if I've showed this before in a video, but it's something that's really useful, and I see a lot of people also have these. Obviously to tell the time, because you have to be bare below the elbows in a clinical environment, so you can't wear a watch. And also because if you're doing like, you know, taking like a pulse or a respiratory rate or something, then you can use that even if there's not a clock in the room. So I'd recommend getting one of them. Mine's actually broken. It's run out of battery because it's stuck on 7:30. But yeah, that's been something that's really useful to have for me. Hand sanitizer, obviously that's an essential, but not really, to be honest, for the hospital environment, because we do just use, there's just hand gel everywhere, isn't there, in a hospital. But yeah, I just have it in my bag in case I go to the shop or something after placement. So then I have one of these laptops. So this is the one that got given to me for our psychiatry placement and for also the healthcare of later life placement, which I'm starting on Monday. And this is basically so we can access like the patient records. So if we see a patient, you know, if we want to sort of find out a bit more about them and about their story and things, then we can look that up on here. So I found that useful because obviously if I take a history from a patient, sometimes I won't get all of the information, like I won't gather everything, especially if I don't have very long with the patient. So it's nice to then fill in the gaps using the patient's notes. I then have my own laptop, so I always take this with me because I will often find in placement there's a lot of downtime. So there's a lot of time when you might be just waiting for a clinic to start, or you might just have a big gap in the middle of the day and you don't want to come all the way home. And so I'll just get my laptop out and do some work or practice some flashcards or things like that. I would recommend bringing work to do, just whatever placement you're doing, unless you know absolutely that you've got a really scheduled timetable and there's no gaps, because I do find, and sometimes like, I don't know, a clinic will be cancelled or you won't be allowed in or something, and you'll end up having to just sit somewhere. And I find that it's really frustrating if you've then got nothing to do, like if you just have to sit and wait. But if you've always got work to do, then it doesn't matter if something like that happens. I've then got my chargers. I kept forgetting to bring my laptop chargers, and then it would be really irritating when my laptop died and I then couldn't do any work for the rest of the day. So yeah, obviously remember to take them. I've then got this little folder. I didn't take this so much for obs and gynae because I didn't have as much downtime, but in psychiatry there was quite a lot of downtime, and basically in here I've got my timetable. I won't show you because it's got sort of like emails and things on it, but this is like my timetable for my previous week. So they were actually printed out for us, but I think it's quite nice to like print off your timetable if you can, just so that you can like have it with you. Or something else that I do actually is in here. This was one for Obs and Gynae. I'll like write out my own little timetable, because sometimes, you know, you'll get invited randomly to go to things on certain days, or opportunities will arise, and so if you can keep track of what things you want to go to, and especially when a placement is very flexible and it's kind of up to you to choose what clinics you go to, what theatres you go to and things, then it's good to keep track of it, and then you can sort of communicate with other medical students and make sure you're not all trying to go to the same things at the same time. So yeah, having a little timetable in here I found helpful, especially as it was always in my pocket, so I could just, I don't know, if a clinic was cancelled or something, I could just open it up and see what else was on. So that was really useful. Then I've got in this folder, I have all my notes. So these are the notes I printed out for psychiatry. So I didn't actually make these, someone in the year above made them, but people often just sort of send their notes down to the years below, because the thing is with medicine is the information's all out there, all the notes have already been made. I think unless you're going to really learn from the process of making notes, sometimes it can be a bit of a waste of time to make your own notes from scratch. So I have these paper notes that I printed so that I can just, you know, if I want to just refer to something I can, but otherwise I'll just use like a good website like Zero to Finals to look things up, and then all my actual notes are flashcards, so I won't really refer to them like to check things, they're just for me to practice my learning of the material. These are what I would go to if I wanted to sort of, you know, if I suddenly thought, oh, I can't remember what the side effects are of this antidepressant drug, then I could just go to that page and look, or obviously just look it up on Google. So next I've got some paracetamol. Definitely have painkillers, because often, like, if you're doing long days and like I said, you're not drinking enough, you're not eating at the times you normally would eat, it can be quite hard to adjust. I remember that literally the first full day I did of placement, my eating pattern was all wrong, because normally I would eat my lunch at 12 and then I didn't get to eat it till like 2, and then I wasn't drinking water. I'd had to get up really early, so I was a bit tired as well, and I remember actually feeling quite like ill, like I got a headache and things. So first advice would obviously be, don't let yourself get to that point. So if you can have a snack or you can have your water with you, then do that. But sometimes you just can't, you actually just can't, and I think you do just get used to it. Like, it's really weird looking back, that first full day I did, I really struggled, and I thought, I can't cope with this, like I can't just not be eating and drinking properly and things. But it's weird how your body just adjusts, and now like I could literally go hours without eating my lunch, and like I obviously will eat it eventually, but I think I've just got used to that. But yeah, I'm quite prone to getting headaches and things, so I always have paracetamol in my bag. I've got a little lip balm in here. I don't really use lip balm, to be honest, but it's just one of those must-have things, isn't it, in your bag. Then I've got my little purse, well, it's a card holder actually, and obviously I have a pen, and also a spare pen. Like, I've always got this in the front pocket of my bag, like an emergency spare pen, because there's so many times when I will just put my pen down and it will just disappear, or a doctor will ask to use it and then they'll just go off with it and I'll never see it again. So I always have a spare pen, and then like a nice pen as well for my notebook. I think that is everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you like these kind of medical school placement vlogs and videos, and I'll see you very soon for my next video. Bye!